Welcome back to On the Scout. I'm Don. I'm out at the range right now, and I'm here to answer the eternal question: why don't more hunters and shooters use a shooting sling for support? The shooting sling, is it an ancient artifact of the past, a relic of World War I, World War II, an ultimate boomerism, or is it a valid, forgotten shooting support system? Let's shoot some rounds and find out together. So what are we doing out here? Next to a 66% steel IPSC target, and it kind of represents human-sized vitals, just it's smaller than my chest width, under different supports, sling support and stick support and other bag support, and we'll just see what the results are as you look through my rifle scope, which has a Tacticam 5 4K prism camera installed on it, so you see what I see. And we'll also see my positioning and body profile as I demonstrate all these shooting supports at various ranges. Start the camera. You're going to see exactly what I'm seeing with this prism shooting camera setup as well. That way you can see the wobble zone of how much support or lack thereof these various sling and support methods give me. Just to show the control that this rifle is zeroed and the ammunition isn't entirely crap, it's Aguila, so it's about 2 MOA ammo. I'm going to do a headshot through Tacticam 5 so you can see. Alright, Tacticam is running. I'm going to show you the stability of having 2 sandbags at 100 yards. Try for a little headshot to also demonstrate the rifle is zeroed. 4-inch target at 100 yards. Now that I've confirmed with the audience that this rifle is indeed zeroed with this ammunition and this scope, let's show some other support options that are commonly used to help build our control. A very common support method, often used by backcountry hunters and front country hunters back east, is sitting. And I'm going to show support with this simple leather sling. Just hasty wrap. Start Tacticam. And I'm sitting here, knee elbows to knees. I'm zoomed in 10 power. You can see the prior hit. It took the head right off. And I'm trying to get myself into a comfortable position to show you what stability I can get with this simple wrap or lack thereof. I'm going to go for a chest shot there on the IPSC because I don't have very much stability with a hasty wrap. I'd say the wobble zone's around 6 inches at 100 yards. Probably not good enough for 200. Let's get into another slung up position with the hasty wrap sling and I'll show you the stability. My least favorite slung supported position. I'm trying to get my natural point of aim right. A lot is left to be desired with this position at 100 yards. My wobble zone is jumping to the sides, trying to settle in. My wobble zone is as wide as the target right now. All right, got it down to 6 inches and hit center again. Stack those two. All right, let's move back a bit further. Let's go to 250 yards with this slung method, and we'll see if I can still get on steel with the hasty wrap sling here. So 100 yards is a little bit too easy for the hasty sling, so I moved the target back to 250. There's going to be a little element of holdover, and so let's check out the wobble zone with the hasty sling sitting and kneeling at 250 yards. All right, let's get into the hasty sitting. Hitting 4 inches low, should aim at the shoulder level, kind of in the belly. Miss. Let's go to kneeling. Hard primers, weak spring. Aim at neck level and hitting at the belly. Wobble zone is near the full size of the target. So we can get one more hit. Hasty slung kneeling. Miss. Wobble zone is too big for hasty. Let me show you as another form of control. No sling at all, just freehand, kneeling, and sitting. And so this is freehand, no sling support, kneeling. Miss. Let's show you freehand sitting. Miss. What are my takeaways so far for the control? So far, the most stable position obviously has been sandbags off a stump. That might as well be a bench. I think the sling provided a hair more support than freehand, but not much. And going from 100 yards where I could easily just nail the center of the chest over and over to 250, where my wobble zone or my reticle was dancing outside the edges of the target, that, from my experience, and maybe your own, is clear to me that when the wobble zone is bigger than the target, you're going to have a high probability of missing. And so if I was hunting or had a very important critical shot to make, I wouldn't make that shot if I was trying to sit or kneel with just a hasty arm wrap sling. So let's move into some different types of slings and see how they do at 250. The next sling has a very controversial name. This is Andy's Leather Rhodesian sling. So please don't cancel me. I mean, I'll probably survive, but it's just really inconvenient. So the Rhodesian sling was inspired by a professional hunter in Zimbabwe, and it's named after the sling that he developed out there in the bush, and Andy's Leather manufactures this sling in homage to that PH and the outfitter out there in Zimbabwe. So this is a very thick, 3/4 inch thick leather sling, really good, nice leather, really grippy on the inside. Notice there's a loop and a special C-shaped buckle that creates this like opening. So it's a bit easier to pass an arm through all the way to the armpit and do a wrap and get in a slung position. And because it actually is a loop rather than an arm wrap, like if I was just going to arm wrap it, I don't have kind of a side cant pull. I have a little bit more stability with the Rhodesian loop than the arm wrap. So let's get geared up and show some stability shots through the scope with the Rhodesian sling. Rhodesian sling at 250 yards, sitting. Good hit in the center, aimed at the top of the head, put another round in. Whew. The Rhodesian sling is very stable, probably about as stable as the behind the back tactical 2-point sling. Kind of hard to tell. I'll go through the footage and think about it some more, but I found it really easy to be sitting down, having my elbows on my knees, slung up with the Rhodesian, wrapped up tight on my upper arm, and just keep that wobble zone right at the top of the head and deliver 2 good hits in the center mass. All right, let's go to kneeling and see how this thing does. Rhodesian, kneeling, 250 yards. Getting good center mass hits. The Rhodesian's doing pretty good work here, kneeling, slung up. The wobble zone's a hair bigger than sitting, obviously, but still very stable cuff position here with the Rhodesian. Let's switch it to a different type of sling here. This is the Ching sling. It's named after Eric Ching, its inventor. Eric Ching was a rifleman, a student, and an acolyte of Jeff Cooper back at Gunsight Academy's heyday when Cooper was still teaching. And Eric Ching developed this sling in efforts to find a sling that could provide huge open loop wrap up and also be carried and utilized as an actual like rifle hunting rifle sling. So the sling that preceded this was called the CW, Carlos Whitman, based off of a British open looped, like half loop, shooting slings that came from the I think, the 19th century. Drawback is if you just have this loop on the fore end of your stock, you can't really carry it. It's kind of range only. And so for years, Cooper had been having a quick disconnect in the middle and relocating a standard loop sling to create this half loop British style CW sling. And Eric Ching just added a little slider and a little rubber stopper and created a 3-point sling that had all the advantages of a loop sling and the carryability of a 2-point sling. So a very weird sling that's intertwined in the history of the Scout rifle. There's a lot of sling going on here, 3 points, and you also have to modify your stock. I actually had QDs added to the side of the rifle stock, and that was under advisement from Andy Langlois, who builds this sling. He knew Jeff Cooper personally and Eric Ching, and he said the QDs on the side were the best for this style of sling. And so let's just loop into this, shoot a few rounds, and show what the hype is about, or lack thereof, and you can make your decision based on what the rifle sees. Looping in, Ching sling, 250 yards. Ching sling is very stable from the sitting position. Probably one of the most stable so far, sling-wise. Missed that one. Big benefit of the Ching sling is from sitting down, this is very inherently stable, like near prone levels, near sandbag levels of stability. Kneeling, maybe it's my posture, it's a little bit more wobbly. It seemed not much better than the Rhodesian, not much better than the other slings from kneeling. So that might tell me that maybe kneeling inherently is just not a stable position no matter what slung up position you find yourself in so far. Well, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's try another sling out. So this is the Safari Ching sling. This is another version of the Ching sling developed by the same man, Eric Ching. And this sling was made not just for the Scout rifle and general purpose rifle of Cooper's era. It was made for the heavy, thick-barreled stopping rifles for hunting elephants and Cape buffalo and lions in Africa. And so that part of the Gunsight Academy, Jeff Cooper kind of crowd, they used to go to Africa and go on these safaris back when it was, a little bit more affordable than it is today. And so as you notice, this one piece of leather is a huge, wide sling. So it spreads the weight a little bit better. And Eric Ching cut a kind of a V slit in the middle and joined it with a little U-shaped bridge. And so this has the benefit of being a Cobra sling that spreads the weight of the heavy rifle, but also has a little point where you can grip the rifle stock, grab the loop, put it to your armpit, and you have a sort of hasty shooting support. So the method is, instead of passing, you can also pass your arm through, get it to the armpit, and then wrap. And as you can see, the material bunches up a lot. This sling wasn't designed to do that. It's meant to do that, hold the fore end, strong side, pulls up, stock goes to shoulder, and it's a little bit quicker. And so we'll see if the lack of wrap, lack of true loop, adds stability or reduces stability. Safari Ching sling, 250 yards, sitting. You're probably asking me, Don, why is this whole review conducted with you on your ass or kneeling, sitting or kneeling? The reason is that in the field, if you're standing, you're probably going to be braced against a tree, and that's a whole nother type of stability. It's very similar to a bipod or similar to the tripod stability-wise. But in most other cases, there's going to be enough intervening foliage and grass in the ground where prone is just not effective. In very few circumstances, on a hunt or shooting in the field, have I found an opportunity to actually set up a bipod or set up a backpack and shoot off that. It does happen, probably like less than 1 in 10 shooting opportunities when it comes to hunting situations. So that's why this entire review is conducted from seated or from kneeling. This is the Galco RifleMann sling. It was designed by Richard Mann, famous gun writer, firearms instructor, and a major Scout rifle proponent. So he designed this sling with intention to have a shooting loop that's easy to access. It's very similar to the Rhodesian style sling. It has a big padded section for carrying heavy rifles like a Cobra sling. And it also has a secondary suede section down here for carrying the rifle in African or European style carry. And it doesn't slip off the shoulder. Super easy to just have every type of carry, classic shoulder carry for this rifle. The loop is a little bit messy looking. There's a buckle down here for a little bit of adjustment. A lot of the adjustment's done up here. There's also adjustment down here on these tri-slides here. A lot going on with this sling, and so let's go ahead and get it on camera on the Tacticam and see how much stability I can get sitting and kneeling. 250 yards. Good hit. Nice. I've knocked the target a little bit forward. It's still visible, but it's in the shade a bit. RifleMann sling, 250 yards. And wobble zone is huge. Yeah, the wobble zone is a little bit wider than the target kneeling, and that's not just a thing with the RifleMann sling. Most of the slings are having trouble adding any stability, and it's just a limitation of this position really. If there's any takeaway from this video, it's that kneeling is not a good position to be shooting a narrower target at 250 yards. One of my favorite slings I've been using recently is a FinSling from Finland. It's a version of the 2-point tactical sling often seen on AR-15s and other modern tactical rifles. The difference being this sling has a little bit more adjustment and has features that allow it to be carried with skis, allow it to be converted to a single point sling. I mainly use it like a standard 2-point sling. I had QD swivels installed on the side of my rifle, so I can make the adjustment and carry this sling across the chest, and the sling can be used for shooting support. All right, let's try the FinSling, using it for shooting support in the sitting and then the kneeling position. This is the FinSling on my Scout rifle. I have it set up like a tactical rifle. The end of the sling is on the outboard side of the stock. The front of the sling's on the fore end. It's over my right shoulder. Support hand goes on top of the sling. And as I loop up, start recording. As I loop up in the sling, I can use my offhand here, my primary hand, to tighten up and increase tension. All right, let's see what we got here on the target. And the first one is also a hit, but I'll send one more just to be sure. All right, that was pretty good. I felt the wobble zone was well within the 66% IPSC. I'm gonna go to kneeling. If we learn anything from this sling review series, it's kneeling is a very ineffective shooting position. one hit. I kind of have side-to-side wobble here. Try to send one more. Not bad. I feel the FinSling with kneeling is a little bit better than the other slings. I'll just show you some footage here of me holding it on target. The wobble zone's just a hair bigger than the width of that 66% IPSC. So one of the more common support methods I've seen show up to camp in these last few years is the full tripod with a gun saddle or an ARCA mount on the rifle itself. It takes a long time to set up. It's very difficult to set up in concealment if you're prone. Not impossible, but the benefits are you can use a spotting scope on this tripod, the same head, and most likely it isn't too much longer than the frame of your frame pack, which I'm going to also use for shooting support. So with the gun vise here, the tripod, and the solid backpack frame for a rear support on my rifle, this is essentially like one tiny step down from shooting off a bench. Let's go into the scope. Tripod leg kicked out on the second shot, so I lost sight picture. I couldn't do a fast follow-up, but if you look through the camera, the wobble zone for the tripod shooting is very stable. Again, just one step below bench shooting. Tetanus. Thanks so much for joining on the sling and shooting support review. I'd like to thank the donors, Andy's Leather for donating his slings, FinSling for donating his slings all the way from Finland, Galco Leather, big old company that's been making slings for a long time, donated their slings. Couldn't have done it without them. Couldn't have done it without all the wonderful patrons of Patreon that help fund this niche scout rifle, general purpose rifle, hunting rifle content. Get in the comments. I must have missed something. You're going to tell me whether I want it or not. So a lot of learning happens in the comments. Let's have our discussions. Let's be civil. Don't forget to please like, subscribe, hit that bell, fight the algorithm. This is Don on the Scout.